YOLO. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at 5 stocks that I'm keeping an eye on for the later half of 2025 and the year 2026. I believe these 5 stocks are in a prime position to benefit greatly from what's been going on in the U.S. politics. As always, this is for financial education and entertainment purposes only. It is not financial advice. But without any further ado, because I don't, let's get into it. The first up on the list is ticker symbol XOM, ExxonMobil. Now, reason I'm keeping an eye on this one, and I think it might stand to benefit greatly from what's been going on with the U.S. politics, is President Trump seems completely gung-ho about bringing industry back to America. Bringing factories, the Taiwan semiconductor plants, Apple's wanting to bring a new iPhone factory here. Well, all this stuff has to get from point A to point B, so there's going to be a lot of fuel costs. And I'm in the trucking industry myself, so that kind of gives me an unfair advantage when you think about it. When it comes to transportation and logistics, I have a much bigger idea and understanding on what exactly it means when all these companies are saying they want to build new factories in America. Things have to get from point A to point B, and there's really only 2 main ways to transport things. Plane is just not very effective unless you run an operation like FedEx. So it's because of that reason that I think ExxonMobil is definitely one to watch. Also Chevron, but I'm partial to ExxonMobil myself, so I decided to pick them for this list. See, oil and railroad built America, and they're not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. And speaking of railroad, that brings us on to number 2. At number 2, we've got UNP, Union Pacific. They are one of the biggest and baddest railroad companies in the world. They have been absolutely crushing it and building America for generations at this point, transferring so much freight from state to state or coast to coast. There's just so much that they do. And in the trucking industry, we move a very large amount of freight ourselves. Planes don't really move all that much, but trains, they move metric tons and tons of this stuff. Everything from coal that's been mined out of the mountains to shipping containers from the ports to just raw materials to be taken and smelted down in factories. They move a ridiculous amount of material. And with all these manufacturing jobs coming back, they're going to be needing high volume freight moved as quickly and efficiently as possible. Where trucks fail, trains prevail. Union Pacific is one of my SWANS stocks. What are SWANS? Let me explain. SWANS is an acronym. It stands for Sleep Well at Night stocks. These are stocks that, no matter what happens, I would be comfortable putting 80 to 100% of my portfolio into a single stock, and I'd be able to sleep well at night knowing that it would be completely fine. Now, that's a ridiculous statement, I know, but that's just the level of confidence that I have in Union Pacific. Now we move on to the third stock, which is also another SWANS for me, which is none other than Waste Management, ticker symbol WM. One thing that I can be absolutely sure of, that no matter what happens, there will always be trash to be taken out. No matter how much recycling we're able to do, there are just some things that cannot be reused or broken down into the environment safely. One of those being styrofoam. And you know what's used in a lot of shipping? Styrofoam peanuts. Those things are horrible for the environment. Cardboard can at least be recycled to some degree. But on a mass level of bringing back jobs, industry, production, plants, there's going to be a lot of waste, from broken parts to literal just trash that piles up. Those little vending machine bags of Doritos, those all got to go somewhere. So Waste Management would be one of my stocks that I could put almost my entire portfolio in, and I'd feel completely fine. I know that this is a problem or a potential opportunity that is just going to continue to grow as long as there are humans, making trash. Their only real competitor is Republic Services, I believe, and it's sort of formed a duopoly between the two of them. The fourth stock that I'm going to be keeping an eye on and probably buying more of, because I already have some and it's doing very well for me, is ticker symbol MO, Altria. They are most well known for selling cigarettes, the Marlboro brand of cigarettes specifically. And with over 35% of blue-collar workers smoking cigarettes, a large uptake in blue-collar jobs will mean more stress, which will also mean more smoke breaks and more cigarettes being sold. However, they don't only do cigarettes. They have diversified out, especially since so much regulation has come against the tobacco industry, that they've moved into alcohol and, I don't know if I can say it on YouTube, so that 420 cash money business. They are getting into that. So they've definitely expanded so that they're not a one-trick pony. I think this would be a very good company to watch. However, it is also known as a sin stock. Some people find it morally wrong to invest in something they know which is actively hurting someone else, causing lung cancer and other diseases related to smoking. You'll have to let your moral compass be your guide on if you want to get into a stock like this. And the final stock that we're keeping an eye on for the later half of 2025 and going into 2026 is actually a three-way tie between three big steel companies. CMC Steel, ticker symbol CMC. Then we have Worthington Steel, ticker symbol WS. And we have Nucor Steel, ticker symbol NUE. I rattled my brains for the longest time trying to pick one over the others. But honestly, it's just so difficult with these three companies because they all do steel work. But they all do it slightly differently and in differing amounts, especially in the regions. In Ohio, there's a big steel plant in Delta, Ohio, that does tons of steel coils. But there's a place in Norfolk, Nebraska that does a whole lot of steel coil rod out of a Nucor plant. And then down in Georgia, just northwest of Atlanta, there's a massive CMC steel place that does huge industrial I-beams. All of them do different kinds of work with steel, and steel is just going to be a phenomenally high demand item for building all these new factories. If we end up getting a large uptake in industry and manufacturing and new factories being built and items being produced here in America, steel is going to benefit greatly from it. All the factories are almost exclusively built using large steel I-beams so that those overhead multi-ton cranes can safely load and unload flatbed trucks such as mine. On top of that, shipping containers are all made out of steel. Most industrial tools are made out of steel, and so are forklifts. You can carry multi-tons depending on the size of the forklift, such as the ones from shipping ports. So, steel is going to have a great opportunity if we pick up a large amount of domestic factory work and blue-collar jobs returning. I'll definitely be keeping an eye on these stocks and possibly buying more of them. But let me know in the comments below if you own any of these stocks or if you're looking into them yourself. The future is coming fast, and if we don't prepare, we'll get left behind. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the flip side.